You're listening to Fighting Game Follies.
It's the #1 podcast for low-level player opinions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Round one.
Yo, what's going on? Hello to all of my grapplers, mashers, set plays psychopaths, O2ers, Wi-Fi warriors, tournament runners, everybody in between. What's happening? What's going on? Entirely new year. Despite it being a week late because I had a cold and just decided to die for 3 days straight. But it's alright, it is what it is. We come back stronger than ever. We come back, we waking up, we DPing on wake up, and we DPing onto the new year. What's happening? 2023. Fighting Game Follies. It's your host, Grief for Games, games.png. Like I said earlier, I was gone for 3 weeks. First 2 weeks, spend time with your family, whatnot. Christmas, New Year's. Third week, fell sick. Oh well, it is what it is. That's all I can really say. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to start an entirely new year talking about all the many things that I want to do during this year. I'm glad to talk about all of the many games that are going to be coming out this year. I'm just glad to be here. All right? And I bet you can't guess what I'm going to be here for. If you didn't see the title, if you got this on autoplay or something, we're going to be talking about the fighting games I want to get into possibly this year, possibly later on in my life. I don't know when. I just know these are the games that I sort of want to at least try to sink my teeth into for an extended period of time. I guess I don't know. I don't really have anything more to say outside of that. Outside of talking about the first game that I want to talk about, which is Skullgirls. I don't know if you guys remember on the special episode where I had my friend Tankira, aka Ivan, come on. But he is a big Skullgirls person. And he's also the person that actually tried to get me into Skullgirls several times. And when I say get into the games, I mean I sit down for an extended period of time. That's the game that I'm mostly focusing on. That's the game where I'm practicing tech all the time. How Guilty Gear Strive right now is sort of my main game, and how I'm into Strive. I want to sort of get into all of the other games that I want to talk about here, Skullgirls being one of them. And I've tried to play Skullgirls a couple of times, but it just never really clicked with me for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons being the fact that, and this is probably the biggest one that I have, is that it's a 6-button fighter, and I've never really liked playing 6-button fighters. I think the only 6-button fighter that I actually have playing was Third Strike, and that's because Third Strike is just it's it's half nostalgia factor and then half that game is just so sick. I just can't not play Third Strike. But I just really I don't know what it is, but I just can't really get into 6-button fighters. I think what it might be is the fact that I can never really understand the entire combo complexity of those games, because you can go if you're playing on pad, right? Or not pad, let's say you're playing on stick, and you have your button set up and everything, and it's you can have a combo that goes light punch, heavy kick, light kick, medium punch. There's a lot of hand movement and everything that you have to keep in track of, on top of other options and whatnot, character play style, inputs, combos and whatnot. It's a lot of stuff to have to constantly remember about and keep in mind, which on top of me just trying to remember what buttons to press, I also got to remember of oh, I can extend my hand out ever so slightly to get a heavier version of that punch or that kick. And it's always something that I don't necessarily forget per se, but it's never really in my forethought of thinking, if that makes sense. I usually stick to mediums when I play 6 buttons. So that's what a lot of my gameplay and whatnot sort of stems into, which obviously I'm not if I'm only playing with medium buttons, then that I'm closing myself off to the other 4 buttons that I can mess around with, which I think is also just sort of where my thought process is. I can only really think in buttons of 4, most being 5. But even then, in the 5 example, since Gear is technically a 5-button game with Dust, you never really see Dust being used all too often in terms of regular gameplay. It's only really used in order to get a sneaky like overhead or something. Like it's just it's not in the forethought of like my overall play style, if that like sort of makes sense. And I guess another thing that I sort of don't really like about Skullgirls, which sort of like keeps me away from it, is the fact that it is a tag fighter. And despite me like religiously like or not religiously, but like despite me like being a really big fan of like Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, like games like that, I still don't really like tag fighters all too much, especially in the way that like Skullgirls is a tag fighter, if that like makes sense. So like I'm fair. I'm fine with like BB tags two tag like two character tag system because it's only like one other thing that I have to worry about. But it's like I can get a full team of like zoners. I can play against a Parasol, a Robo Fortune, and I'm trying to think who else is like Peacock. I can play against a Parasol, Robo Fortune, Peacock, get completely zoned out. I can play against a Parasol who's there to zone me out, a big man who's there to like do like flashy combos, and then a Beowulf who's there to like grab me. And it's like I have to deal with like not only these three different characters, but the like three other characters that I'm playing, the different matchups that I have with that character, how they work in a group setting, like what their assist is and whatnot. It's like it's just a lot of stuff that constantly like you have to think a lot about, and it keeps like piling up, and which is fine for like some people. Like there are some people who want to play games like that where they're constantly like being stimulated, where they're like thinking about a lot of things, and that's sort of where their whole process and whatnot like sort of lies. But for me, I can't really. The most I can do is like two characters with like a simplified-ish moveset. Like it's fine-ish. Like I can still do like a majority of the things that I can if it's like three characters or if it's like a more complex moveset. But I would prefer it more if it's like a simplified-ish move set or like I don't have to really think about all too much because I start to get over like stimulated with the choices that I'm making not only in the actual game itself but just at the character select screen, which then leads me to like sort of not really wanting to play the game as I just have a lot more like thinking and my thought process sort of just like it gets like I guess cranked up to 11, which I like doing. Like it's fun, but it's not what I want to do for every game, and I don't really want to like sit down and put the time and effort in to really like get it to where that system 2 function is now a system 1. If you don't know, system 2 basically being like slower, more thoughtful, system 1 being like the more like instantaneous like sort of thinking, like how like 2 plus 2 you already know is 4, or like apples and oranges like that. But I sort of like that's sort of the two like main points, and the other like I guess third point is the fact that like there aren't really all too many characters that like really resonate with me. Like don't get me wrong, in the times that I have played Skullgirls, I do have like a main team. I play Beowulf, I play Eliza, and like sort of swap between like either Philia or crap, what's I'm trying to think of like the Valentine. I sort of like swap between like Philia and Valentine and like sometimes Misfortune. But actually no, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like Philia and Misfortune, and I'll sometimes like swap those two out for Valentine. Like if I want to like be adventurous, but the main two that like to worry about is Eliza and Beowulf. Both of those characters are really cool. I have a lot of fun playing them. It's just that like the mechanics of like Skullgirls, it's very um hmm. So it's sort of weird. Well, not weird, but it's like every character has like their own like sort of little gimmick and whatnot. Like for example, Misfortune is able to take off her head and sort of use it like a puppet character. Eliza is able to, I guess, go into a stance where she has like super armor on literally everything, but it takes away your super meter and your health. Beowulf has his whole like hype mechanic and hype meter, or not meter, but his whole hype mechanic where he can like build hype, and it's a lot of things to like keep in mind and have to worry about like once again, it's just a lot of like over strenuous stuff that like I don't really like having fun thinking about. And ultimately, if you're playing a game and not having fun, you shouldn't be playing the game in the first place. But I still do respect a lot of, or not respect a lot of, I still do really respect Skullgirls players. I think those are like probably some of the like coolest people ever. I still find the games to be like really interesting, really cool. I'm completely in. I love the Skullgirls lore a whole lot, dude. Like it's really sick. If you haven't already, I do suggest like trying and giving it a chance. Like even though, and I say this for all of these games, even though they aren't like for me or I haven't gotten the chance to like try them or anything, I still feel like you should at the very least like go and check out like the games because there was like a small little period in time where like or like small little burst of time where I would try and like get into Skullgirls and try and play it for like a week and then get frustrated because I'm not at the same level of like not I constantly get like knowledge checked or anything or like I'm not really at the same level that like I find my peers or everything at, which sort of leads me to be frustrated and I don't really want to play it. But oh well, there isn't anything that you can really do about it. Not every game is going to appeal to every person, which is fine. And I think like once you actually start to understand and learn that, that's when you can like truly start understanding and like really having fun with games as like fighting games as a whole because you don't have to like sit down and play every fighting game. Like Street Fighter isn't like even though it's like the grandfather of fighting games and like the universal FG, not everyone's going to really like playing like a Street Fighter or like a specific version of a Street Fighter. Like I don't really like Street Fighter 4 all too much, but I still like that. That is a really big part of like my that Street Fighter 4 is still like a really big part of like my history as a fighting game player. Like despite me not playing Smash anymore, that still is a really big part of like my fighting game history as that's what I played competitively for a good while. But that's getting off topic. I don't really like Skullgirls because of those reasons. There isn't really anything that can like be changed about it. I just like I'll probably try and get into it again like when Black Dahlia and Maria drop. 'Cause Black Dahlia does seem really cool, but like I've said before, like the complexities of everything that those characters do and all of like their little like in like their minute intricate stuff that they as a character have, like I feel like it's for me if it was in a one-on-one setting, then it would be fine, but like in a more broader team building setup and whatnot, like the complexities of it sort of like scramble my brain and I'm not really able to like play it to its utmost ability. But oh well. 1v1 settings, I think it would be cool. 3v3s, not really all too much. 2v2, same thing. I am not really a fan of it. Maybe I'll try it again when Black Dahlia and Maria drop. I said I was going to try it when Annie came out, since like she's essentially a Kai, Kisk, or like Yuna or Kami stand-in, which would have been really good for me. Haven't gotten a chance to like really like try and sink my teeth into her yet, and I'll probably like buy it when Maria comes out. But oh well, that those are my takes on Skullgirls. That's what I think about that game. That's what I like sort of want to talk about, and that's probably all I'm going to talk about Skullgirls for a good while until like those two characters come back, or we maybe get like a guest star or something that like is really into Skullgirls. But yeah, that's all I really. That's what I have to say about that game in specific. If you haven't played Skullgirls, it's really good. Art's amazing, story's really great, music is incredible. Just try it out.
Round two.
Alright, so after talking about and coming off of the heels of Skullgirls, I think the next two games that I want to talk about, that's right, two. I'm talking about two separate games in a single segment because it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want. The next two games I want to like sort of shed some light on and talk about is Melty Blood and Blaze Blue. And the reason why I'm putting these two games like together in a single thing and not in their own separate segments is because when you really boil down to it, both Melty Blood and BlazBlue are like very similar. And by similar, I mean in terms of like being like anime fighters. Because when you think of an anime fighter, like it's most likely these two games that you're really thinking of. It's like old school Guilty Gear, a Melty Blood game, and then like a BlazBlue game, and then like some like other obscure stuff that's like sort of reminiscent of the anime fighter genre. But these are sort of the games that you like really think about. And I honestly don't even like I the part of me like wanting to get into Blaze Blue and like actually playing Blaze Blue is a lot more funnier than like me wanting to get into Melty Blood. And I think it's kind of stupid that I never got into Melty Blood because initially I was going to buy the game like when Type Lumina came out, but I just didn't. And I think it's because I didn't have like a steady supply of people to like really play it with, which is like kind of stupid. And I mean, it's not like stupid, but it does make sense. Like if you don't have like a good support of like people to play a game with, then like obviously you're not gonna have fun. And like that, like fighting games are very reliant on the people that like you play with and like the ones that you make relationships with. So it does make sense. But at the same time, there are people who in my initial like BB tag circle that like when I first started playing BB tag by myself and like I got into like I got into relationships and I like got into like friendships with like those people and met a lot of really cool people from BB Tag who were also moving over to other games like Guilty Gear and Melty Blood. I didn't buy Melty Blood, which is weird, and I never really understood why. And I now I really don't understand why because French Bread has been doing like an amazing job adding in characters and whatnot for free. Like DLC in that game has been like 100% free, which is insane. Like that's literally unprecedented. It's not heard of. So French Bread's been doing a good job. Multi Bullet's been doing a really good job as of late. Like it's still going strong with DLC and everything. And it just baffles me that I never really got into like Multi Blood, especially since that like sort of like checks off the boxes for like all of the like fighters that I like really play. But Blaze Blue is sort of a completely different story, and when I say Blaze Blue, I mean obviously not BB Tag. I'm talking more on the lines of like Central Fiction, and I think the story of Central Fiction is kind of funny because initially I did really want to play Central Fiction, but as a joke, me and Ivan, aka Tenkiro, who I had on the special episode, as I mentioned earlier, we both bought the game when it was like on sale for like super cheap. And just as a joke, I don't know why I said this, but as a joke, I was like, it would be funny if like cuz we played it like in I think a one session and I was like, okay, cool, this is like sick. I might check this out like later. I might like actually sit down and like try and play this. And I think as a joke, I was like, oh, it would be funny if we just never touch this game. And then afterwards, like a good while afterwards, like I just kept getting itches to play Central Fiction. And then like he would always bring up the fact that like we sort of made it our like unspoken spoken rule to not play Central Fiction. So I was like, oh yeah, you're right. And then it's just sitting here in my game library, like fully downloaded on my computer, like ready to boot up, and it's just, I don't understand why I did that. And it sucks even more now because if you guys don't know, Thorgy's Arcade, he does like a really good series called Build a Roster where he makes like theoretical fighting games and makes rosters about them. You should like go check it out. But he recently did a introspective on the entire Blaze Blue like series and franchise as a whole. And I already knew a good bit about Blaze Blue. Like I don't know, I remember mentioning it in one of the like other episodes here that the creators of Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, Daisuke Ishiratari and Mori P, they're actually really good friends, and Daisuke is the whole reason that or like is the like whole catalyst for how Mori P even got into making games and like the entire Blaze Blue like series in general. But I just never I don't there's a lot of stuff that like I didn't know and I learned from that introspective and I'm glad that I did that like I now have a like fonder appreciation for the game and I know it's probably not going to happen anytime soon, but if we do ever get like a mainline BlazBlue game, because outside of me trying to play Central Fiction, back in middle school I also had a teacher who got like he pseudo got me into it with like a mobile game that had a really good open like it was a BlazBlue mobile game which like saying that is like very oh yeah you're very descriptive. I forgot what the name of the game is and I'm like I'll probably remember it like after I'm done like talking about it as like I normally do remember things when I'm done talking about them. But I know that game. I had a lot of fun with that game. I sunk hours into it, dude. It was a lot of fun, and it was sort of like where I got. It was sort of where I got like my like startings into anime fighters, I guess, because like it was around that time in middle school where I like started to experiment more. That's where I was into SF4, but I was like sort of like in and out of it. This is also where I started playing Brawl and Smash 4 competitively. So like, it was sort of like right at a really good starting point for me to like play anime fighters and like branch out a bit more. So I don't know why like never really played a Blaze Blue game. I never know why like Melty Blood, I'm sort of pissed at myself at because I know for a fact that if I had like doubled down and like actually committed and brought the game like when everyone else was buying it when Type Lumina first came out, I know for a fact I would have had like a lot of fun and at the very least like probably made like more content about it as opposed to just talking about it. And then Central Fiction and just all of the other Blaze Blue games, like I just don't have like a group of like people to play it with, which I'm probably like if like let's say a mainline Blaze Blue game actually does come out that isn't a spin-off or like a roguelike or something or like we get like an actual Blaze Blue game, like a mainline Blaze Blue game that continues the story forward, I'm doubling like I'm tripling down. I'm pre-ordering it, buying it day one, and I will be like I will make content on that game. That's only if it happens. If you don't know when I don't want to spoil the introspective. Well, not spoil the introspective, but you should really go check out that introspective that Thurgy's Arcade dropped. It's really good. It's 2 hours long, but I was able to like watch the entire thing in like a single sitting. So I don't know. Um, but for those who don't know, Mori P, I forget his name, but Mori, the dude who makes like the whole guy who's Mori is essentially the Daisuke to Blaze Blue, like how Gear is Daisuke's like whole passion project, and he's been working on this for like a good while. Had this story came up and everything. That's sort of the same thing with Mori and Blaze Blue. But if you don't know, like a few years back, Mori actually left Arc System Works, for like whatever reason, and it sort of sucks because now he's sort of like Blaze Blue. To give a little rundown, basically, like it's a very like quick history on ArcSys, which I probably like should have covered in the actual ArcSys episode that we did, but during a time Gear wasn't really like it was like during the first like couple Gear games, Gear didn't sell all too well. They lost the rights to Gear, and that's like where games like Overture came out. When Overture came out, ArcSys is like, okay, we need a new fighting game staple to like really hit home on something. Daisuke is like, all right, cool, Mori, I know you got your idea for your thing, let's do it. Mori's like, I didn't want to really make that into a fighting game. I was supposed to be like a visual novel. They turned it into a fighting game. It Blaze Blue has the most like super weird and like insane story known to man about time travel, alternate dimensions, like timelines intersecting and whatnot. Like if a person can like recite bits and pieces of like Guilty Gear lore or can like read it back to you, then they're fine. If they can, without a doubt, like talk about Blaze Blue lore in its entirety and have you understand it, that is a pure psychopath, and you need to like they need to be locked up and like studied because Blaze Blue lore is that's a whole bag of spaghetti. Like that is just it's wild. But more he goes, he makes the Blaze Blue games. The Blaze Blue games do really well. They keep doing more and more of it, and it's just then afterwards like he just sort of like leaves from the team, and then they like go continue to use it, and it's just it sucks. But whatever Mori P does decide to do in the future, I really hope like his talents aren't like sort of just like wasted and left out to the masses for whatever because that really is a talented dude right there. He's a really good director. I think the Blaze Blue games are really sick and like interesting. Once again, like I said earlier, if you haven't gotten the chance to, you should probably go check out like, or not even probably, you should check out all of the games that I talk about, not only in this episode, but like just in any of the episodes that I like talk about, unless it is Shaq Fu, because Shaq Fu is a game that should never. Like the only time that you should play Shaq Fu is if you're doing like an intro case study on it, on why it's so bad. That is not a fully functioning game. But honestly, like if you really are a big fan of fighting games, or if you just want to find stuff to like dip your toes into, then I suggest checking out some of the games that I talk about because it's really good, it's really fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about BlazBlue and Melty Blood. Melty Blood, it's like fast paced, it's high octane, high like combo variety and everything. The characters are really sick. The character designs are really cool. I think the only real reason why I didn't like get like hard stuck into it is one because of the memes, stupid Neko arc thing. It is funny, but then it also got outplayed, and then it's also because of the fact that like it was based off of a like visual novel, so like all of the information and everything from like there, I didn't really want to like have to read up on it because I'm a big lore person. If you guys can tell. I'm really big on lore. I like knowing the stories behind like the characters and backstories and everything. I mean, if you go and look at my Daisuke Dissect series, then that's pretty much the entire thing there. But I probably would have like been hard stuck on the lore, and then like that would have been like a whole nother bag of stuff to unravel, which I didn't really feel like doing. And BlazBlue is just like BlazBlue is in its own world. Like, man, if we do get another BlazBlue game, that would be a lot of fun to like play. And like I said earlier, I'm like buying that day one, but it's not looking like that's gonna happen anytime soon, which kind of blows. So I guess we'll just have to stick with the entirety of the series being on Steam with rollback. Dude, please, if you haven't, you should totally buy it. Like buy all the Blaze Blue games, buy all the Guilty Gear games. I'm pretty sure all of them have like rollback now, or if not, they're all getting rollback. We are coming out of the era of delay based, dude. It is so much fun seeing like older games and like just games in general like leave the delay based era. Like we are finally the pack has arrived, dude. But yeah, Blaze Blue, really cool series. Multi Blood, really cool series. I might try them out sometime. If like when we get another Melty Blood game, I probably not when we get another Melty Blood game. I'll try out a Melty Blood, but like maybe when Type Lumina starts dying down and I can like I I don't know, man. Just whenever I see fit, I might try out Melty Blood. Whenever I see fit, I might try like Central Fiction again, get into a Discord server with a couple people, like play that. But like the opportunity will sort of just have to present itself really before I like try and like play it.
Round three.
And for the end of today's episode, we're going to be talking about the last game that I want to get into during this year or whenever it gets a release date. And by that wording, you should tell already that I'm not talking about Street Fighter 6 for once in an episode. I'm going to be talking about Tekken 7 and by extension Tekken 8 because 7 is sort of dying out. That game's been out since like 2016. I'm not touching that anymore. Um, but yeah, Tekken 8. I want to play it. It's just that Tekken as a series is super long and extensive and like has a really big cast of characters and it just has like no tools to introduce like newer players to the series, which is very very annoying. I would like to play a Tekken game. I'm not really a fan of 3D fighters to begin with, but I do eventually want to try and get into a 3D fighter. I played a bit of Tekken 7 with one of my friends, but it's never really like come out more to like I guess meaningful button mashing, I would say. Like I don't really have an idea of like big combo structure or anything. Like I've heard people like other YouTubers talk about how the combo structure is very like not unique per se, but like it's very easy to understand because it's like do a launcher move and then like press buttons after that launcher move, but like it really is a lot more than that. The movement to it is also just like really weird. Obviously, coming from like a primarily 2D plane, when I press up, that means jump, not double tap jump, because then that's double jump. It's just movement and everything just feels off, and like I kind of wish that Bandai Namco and by extension, Harada just did like more to introduce the series to newer people. Like, whoa, I'm gonna talk about Street Fighter 6 here. Um, if you look at Street Fighter Six's like World Tour mode or like whatever I think it is called World Tour. If you look at Street Fighter Six's World Tour mode, then like they have like little mini games and whatnot where like it's like slowly like teaching you how to play fighting games. Like I know in the one trailer that they dropped for I think the Game Awards or whatever it was. Like the trailer that they where they announced the release date, you can see like in a mini game or something, dude is like bro is making food, and then like in order to make the food, he does the quarter circle forward input, and then like light punch or something. Like I wish there were like things like that where you can like be taught fighting games like without actually being taught fighting games in like a binary manner, which is that's what Street Fighter 6 is looking at to do, and I'm really like glad that it's doing that, and I hope like more games get the time to do things like that. Even though I know they probably won't as SF6 and Capcom by extensive or by like they have a big budget. They have a big budget. They can make risks like that. They can do things of that nature and not really have to like yield any like fear of not making any returns back. But I'm getting off topic. I'm talking about a completely different like style of game. That's a traditional. We're talking about 3D fighters, and I just want to learn Tekken 7. Like I in the times that I did play Tekken 7, I played like I think I only played 7, and then I think I played the one on like my 3DS, which is like Tekken 3D. And obviously no one's playing Tekken 3D, and I only really play Tekken 7 with one other person. Uh, 3D I play Jin, and 7, I play Lucky Chloe because Lucky Chloe's fun, and I found like one video where like she's breakdancing and she just gets completely rocked by Negan, which I find to be hilarious. But I just sort of want a excuse to play a Tekken game. I want to like actually learn how to play a Tekken game, and also obviously like find people to play a Tekken game with. Um, hopefully since Tekken doesn't normally like take out characters like that all too often, I'm probably going to be able to like continue playing Lucky Chloe. However, if anything, I need a tutorial or something that isn't just like me going on YouTube and looking up a training mode or something. Like I need an actual tutorial on how to play the game. Like Street Fighter V's tutorial, it wasn't the best, but like it was still solid. Like Guilty Gear Xr's tutorial is like it's really high up there. It's really well done. Like I just need I want a really good tutorial so that instead of being alienated as a new player that has like that doesn't have like the 30 plus like years of experience that all of the other Tekken players have, I can at the very least like just I Bandai, I need floaties, bro. Like everybody out here swimming on a professional level, and I just want floaties. I just want to get into the water, and I don't want to like I want to be able to like actually swim with everyone else. Granted, not on the deep end, but like still, I don't know where this swimming analogy is going. Just know that I want an actual tutorial. Like I'll even take a bad tutorial that like gives me a semblance of an idea of something to do, like if you really don't even want to do like a really big tutorial like that. But even then that doesn't make sense as to why you wouldn't make a good tutorial, because like I said, you're just alienating new players that want to get into the genre. And obviously then it comes into like a balancing act of, oh well, if this person wants to play the game, then they'll search out the tools to play the game. But the fact that the only tools that a player has are online tools that are external from the actual game itself, limiting or like cutting down more on the time that they're actually playing the game, is already a detriment in and of itself. I feel like doing it's backwards logic. It doesn't make sense. It's backwards logic. I don't understand why like you should even have to think about going for an outside source. That should be where you want to get more information from the game rather than that's where you get all of your information. But I digress. I just want a tutorial for Tekken 8. That and Lucky Chloe. I know she's probably not going to like get out unless they do like a reset thing, like how all of the other games of like this time period have been doing, I guess. But I just really want a tutorial. I just want to actually play the game and I want Lucky Chloe in the game so that I can play the game as my favorite character. She probably isn't going to get kicked out, but then again, I know like nothing about like Tekken lore, so I don't know what her like well, I don't know what her standings are with like the whole G8 or like whatever it is world tournament. Like I just want those two things. I want a like decent it had like decent potentially good, but it's so long as it's decent tutorial so that I can understand what I'm doing, what buttons do what and everything, and I want Lucky Chloe in the game. And that's all. Like maybe if we get off Scott, like maybe if we get really like well off because this is looking to be like a really big game, we get character specific tutorials, but that's more dependent on if we A get an actual tutorial and B if the cast isn't like huge enough to where they aren't able to bake in things like that, but still I like character tutorials would be nice if not a character tutorial in specific, then at the very least a general tutorial so that I can understand what I'm doing and Lucky Chloe. And also not stupid like business practice decisions of making it so that you have to pay to see frame data. That's so dumb. Like dude, I don't understand where they even got the idea to do that in the first place, but like no stupid practices like no stupid business decisions. Give us Lucky Chloe. I don't care where her standing is on like tier list or anything. I don't care. I want to play Lucky Chloe because she's cool. And tutorials. Make it a point of a 3.5 of like character tutorials, but I just need a tutorial of some kind so that I can play a like Tekken 8 because I want to. The game looks cool. But that's pretty much everything. That's episode 7 wrapped up. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening. It really means a lot to me. Like I said, every other episode. Um, new year. I'm gonna be pulling in with content. Hopefully, I'm not gonna die for like a few days straight and like not get a episode out for the podcast. But we'll be coming in. We coming in strong. This year is looking mighty good for fighting games. I'm really liking how this is going to be shaping up. I really am enjoying how this year is going to be turning out for fighting games. We got a lot of things on the horizon. We got a lot of things I'm going to be talking about. We got a lot of stuff like and we're just ready for it. We ready like armed, ready. I'm ready to like get into it. And I hope that you guys will all be here for my journey so that I can talk about it. Next week, um, I stick around and find out what I'm talking about next week. I'm probably gonna talk about like tournaments or something, but I don't know. I record these like live-ish and then like talk about whatever. But yeah, once again, thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Um, Low tier opinions coming from your guy. It's great for games, and I'll catch you all in the next one, and I'll see you later. Peace.